Hey everybody, welcome back to another trading education video. This one is also an excerpt from last Monday where I went over how I identify breakouts in Bitcoin. And I wanted to make a standalone version of this video because this one is so important if you're trading Bitcoin or crypto to be able to identify, are we still in a bull run? And when we're in those consolidation periods, when are we going to break out? Especially if you're perp trading or if you've trimmed off the top and you're looking to get back in, this is going to be an invaluable tool for you to really position for those points in the market where we see that momentum. As we often say, it's like the market spends 80% of its time figuring out what it wants to do and then 20% of that time getting there. This helps you position right ahead of that 20% of the time as it makes those big moves. So here's the excerpt from Monday. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments down below. This isn't financial advice. Past results are not indicative of future performance. Do your own research. Okay, moving over to Bitcoin, I'm just going to show you this very simple but oh so powerful trick on the RSI on the weekly time frame that I use to determine every breakout from a consolidation range, and I also use it to determine if we're still in the bull run or not. I can't believe that not more people know about this, but I'm going to share it with you now, so keep it in your back pockets, mark the levels up on your charts. I promise it will change your trading of crypto. Okay, starting on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, and I have all of our price action pulled up from the bottom of the bear market from October, November of 2022, all the way up to present day where we're hoping to break into new all-time highs. Wouldn't that be nice? So the only thing I'm using right now is the RSI on the weekly time frame. And what I want to determine is when are we going to break out right here? When are we going to break out right here? And after our last correction, when are we going to break out right here? So these are the three zones that I am interested in. So the first thing I want to determine via the RSI is the very simple question of, are we in a bull market or a bear market? And on the weekly RSI, you'll find if you draw a horizontal line right here at 44 or 44.75 on the RSI, but you can see how this plays a very nice dividing line between our general bear market. Yeah, we peaked above here, but generally below 44, we're in a bear market, and above 44 on the weekly RSI, we're in a bull market. So honestly, this correction here, I got concerned on this one weekly candle close at the very bottom because we just peaked our head below it slightly, and then we bounced back up. So I was honestly sweating a little bit there, and I thought this might be a worse correction, but we recovered and I entered more that following week as I saw that weekly RSI was turning around. So very simple level there, 44, helps you determine bull market versus the bear market. The other level that I like to mark horizontally, which isn't as important as the 44, but is still a nice visual indicator, is this roughly 62 level right here. And what 62 identifies on the RSI, you can see how that's a dividing line in the price action again. And anything above 62 generally signals a more explosive period in the price action. So here in 2023, we were just recovering, but this was the banking crisis and Bitcoin exploded out of that. And that was, I would say, the most euphoric move in 2023. And then we went back below 62 for a bit of consolidation before we broke out. And then as we had this big rally here, we were above 62 for all of this great price action. Then we went into our 8 months of consolidation, which was again underneath 62, and then we broke out again into December, January. And once we were under 62, you can see right there after the inauguration, then we were back into consolidation and we just peaked our head above that again. So I'm anticipating more exciting price action ahead. Okay, horizontal lines, but how do we determine these exact moments when it is going to cross? Well, it's actually more simple than you think. And we've demonstrated this on the daily with underside support when RSI is ticking up on the daily, and as soon as that underside support breaks down, it tells you momentum is coming out of the moves. Well, the opposite also works for the upside and breaking that resistance to get into new highs. So I'm just going to draw line 1. We'll draw line 2 right here, and then we'll draw line 3 right here. And you can see just this simple trick of drawing this downtrending resistance. And let me zoom in a little bit just so we can really amplify this point. Downtrending resistance in 2023 as we're consolidating, the week we break out right here from this downtrending resistance is the week right before we start this parabolic move up. And then we continue to break down and correct for that 8-month period. God, everybody remember how painful that was? And right here on the week we break through is the week we start breaking up from this final bottom. We did on the yen carry trade low have a wick lower here. So this didn't catch the Pico bottom necessarily, but it did catch the breakout of the consolidation range. And if you're looking to really fine tune those Pico bottom entries, then that's why you would have IADSS up on the 4-hour, and that gave you a near perfect buy signal right there between the buy indicator, mean reversion, and the trend flipping. And then again here, December into January, RSI is moving down on the weekly. And the week we break out right there is the exact bottom when we have that 90-day tariff pause pump. So you can see how just this simple indicator of staying above 44 to determine that we're still in the bull market and breaking this downtrending resistance can be very powerful to help you position. And again, it won't nail the exact day or the exact low that week, but that's why you zoom in to those smaller time frames, to the daily and then to the 4-hour to really nail those Pico bottom entries. Now, the last two things I want to add is that this, of course, can apply to all crypto, but I like to chart it on Bitcoin, and then I just carry that analysis over to Solana or any other crypto that I'm charting, because I know when momentum is coming back into Bitcoin, the alts generally tend to follow. You can also look at the USDT dominance chart to determine if money is flowing out of USDT and back into crypto. That can be another sign of confluence that there is momentum behind this move and the money flows are shifting from that stable coin back into crypto. Well, I hope you guys found that to be helpful. Really mark those levels up on the weekly RSI on your charts. They're important to look at, and I just take a glance at them every couple of weeks just to see how things are shaping up, and it really helps me determine, is this bull run still going to continue? Do I feel safe buying these dips? And when do I want to make those bigger position plays or enter maybe a leveraged long if I'm playing perps to make the most of the market? I hope you guys found that to be helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.